In this section of the course, we're going to learn all about effects and a lot more about routing. So let's start with an empty rack and create a mixer 14.2, and then we're going to create a Maelstrom grain table synth. We'll bring up a sound. Let's look for a gated pad. I think there is one here. Yes, there is. Sounds good. And let's record a little song with the gated pad. I'll turn on my click. Here we go. Okay, that's enough to work with. Let's switch over to our sequencer. I'll just trim this down to 8 bars, and I will loop it and rename it as a gated pad. All right. Now let's say we wanted to add some kind of filter to that. Well, we first select the Maelstrom. You can see it's selected in blue. And then I'll right-click and choose Create. The ECF42 envelope-controlled filter, one of the many effects within Reason. Now, because I added this after the Maelstrom, and the Maelstrom was selected, it will affect the Maelstrom. So the Maelstrom's output will go through the filter. Now, just like instruments in Reason, you can automate effects. How do we do that? Well, the first thing we need to do is create a lane for them, because they don't automatically create a track or a lane. And we can do that from the context menu here, Create Track for Filter 1. And there it is, right there. But if I undo that, I'll show you a quicker way, and that's to Option-click on any parameter that you want to automate. You can see it's highlighted in green, which means it's automatable, and there are my lanes for each of those parameters. So let's do some automation. And there you see a lane with a clip for each part of the automation that we've recorded. Now, I said that Reason has automatically set this up to have the sound of the Maelstrom go through the filter, but I didn't show you how that works. Well, if we flip over the rack, you can see the output of the Maelstrom is going to the input of the filter, and the output of the filter is going up to my mixer. Now, one thing that I like to do, since it just named it Filter 1, I like to name my effects with a prefix of the synth that I'm using, or the instrument that I'm using. So I'm going to call this a gated pad filter, and that makes it a little easier to see in the mixer what it is that I'm actually controlling. Now let's add another effect. We're going to add a Scream 4 distortion. Now, because I had the filter selected when I chose the Scream, Reason has been smart enough to recable everything so the Maelstrom goes to the filter, the output of the filter goes to the Scream distortion, and the output of the distortion goes back to my mixer. And once again, I'll rename this. So let's scroll down to the Scream and rename it Gated Pad Distortion. And that way I can see it in the mixer right there. So let's hear what this sounds like. So you can see how the filtered sound is being affected by the distortion. Now, if we want to create a track for this distortion, we can do it from the context menu as we saw before, and that would create a track. But there's a quicker way. If I delete this, and this time when I create my distortion, I'll hold down the Option key or Alt key on Windows. And when I let go, what will happen is Reason will not only create the device, but it will automatically create the track for that device. So that little trick automatically creates the track, and now I can automate parameters in my distortion. And there are the clips for the cut low, cut medium, and cut high. I can turn them off, I can edit them, and so forth. So we have our gated pad going through a filter, all of those parameters being automated, and then going through our distortion and the distortion being automated.